Think of the animals you have at home. Maybe you have a dog, a cat, maybe some fish. Now imagine those animals trapped in a small space, howling for freedom, barely any food, any water. This is what life is like for animals, dogs, at puppy mills. Puppy mills are mass breeding facilities that, according to the Humane Society Veterinarian Medical Association journal in their May of 2013 entry, they are mass breeding facilities that focus on quantity rather than quality. And the organization People Helping Animals says that 90% of pets that are found in pet stores come from puppy mills. So I feel very passionate about this topic because I have animals of my own. I have a black lab, a pug, a chihuahua, and 2 miniature pinschers, and I can't imagine life without these animals. What if they were trapped in a little cage? What if they were malnourished, had little food, little water? So although puppies from puppy mills are purebred and cheaper, we should limit the number of dogs allowed in puppy mills, because then it will create less overcrowding and less mistreatment. So in my speech, I'm going to tell you about the problems faced by dogs and how limiting the number of them allowed at puppy mills will benefit them. So now let's see why puppy mills are harmful to dogs. And just a warning, these pictures are some graphic. The puppies treated in puppy mills are surrounded in filth. The American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals states that puppy mills usually house dogs in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions. They are without veterinarian care. They don't get toys, food, water, socialization, treats, and grooming. And they have minimized the waste cleanup by having the cages have wire bottoms, some of them. The bottom ones really don't, but the other ones do. And so then that allows the animals' waste to go through the cages so that they don't have to clean up the cages. But then what happens to the dogs that are underneath those cages? They're also getting, the waste is falling on them. And the Humane Society says that the cages, the typical size cage is 5 times 3, and usually there's 4 to 5 dogs in there. And that looks big kind of on the screen, but that's not a very big cage. Maybe 2 dogs could be in there, you're pushing it. Big dogs, 1 dog could be in there. 4 to 5 dogs are usually fit in there, of different sizes. And so, like I said before, the bathrooms, they don't get let out to go to the bathroom very often. If you can see in that corner, you probably can't over here, but there is like feces and urine down on the ground. So the dogs, they go to the bathroom and they fall. And so the dogs underneath are subject to these droppings falling on them. And if they have long fur, it could get stuck in their fur. And the cages are stacked to create more room for more animals. And they're never cleaned, and they are rotting with diseases, and just pure filth in these cages. The dogs are also malnourished. They're never giving full proportions for food, and they're never fed all of the time. These dogs are starving usually. And now that you've seen the cruelty that these dogs face in puppy mills, let's see how the overcrowding affects these dogs. It creates behavior problems for these dogs. The puppies that are born in puppy mills are never shown love. They are taken away from their parents, or their mother, at 6 weeks old. And these dogs don't get interactions, they don't get human interactions, they don't get cuddles, they don't get loves, they don't get treats, they are locked in cages, taken away from their mothers. And the adult dogs are also affected. They are shown no love at all. And all they've known is just isolation. And a USA Today study says from October 10th of 2011 that behavior characteristics of 1,169 dogs was studied. 332 of these dogs were not from puppy mills. And the dogs that were from puppy mills were shown to have higher fear and hesitation rates whenever they were touched. And because of the overcrowding in states, many states have taken laws to stop these. So the Humane Society of the United States says that 10,000 puppy mills are in operation today, and over 2 million dogs come from these puppy mills each year. These puppy mills are located in rural locations, so nobody can see them. They're not open to the general public like a pet store would be downtown Waterloo. You wouldn't see that. Puppy mills are outside the country. And also, Iowa has some laws as well. In Iowa, there's 250 puppy mills estimated. These puppy mills are prone to inspections, and they're supposed to have licenses and permits. That doesn't stop the cruelty from happening, though. They are required to have good food and have space and have proper grooming. That doesn't mean that happens either. And the Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship is in charge of these inspections. And Iowa also has a special law where if you are being subject to inspection, if the puppy mill seems suspicious or they think mistreatment is happening, the inspectors can kind of stake out the place for a few weeks, and once they figure that they have enough evidence that something is going on, they can inspect the puppy mill with no planned visitation, but it has to be during normal business hours. It cannot be any other time. And so, because of Iowa's laws, we still do have puppy mills running amok. But there's other states that have limited the number of dogs in puppy mills, which has become effective. These states include Virginia, Oregon, and Washington. And according to Jacques von Lunen, she writes in the Oregonian, and I quote, "Oregon allows only 25 dogs that are more than 4 months old. It obliges anyone owning 10 or more such dogs to give them enough space to move without touching walls of enclosure and to exercise them twice a day." End quote. This law has led to less overcrowding and abuse. And the dogs, because there is a limited amount of dogs in the puppy mills, they have more social interaction. They are tended more carefully because there's not as many of them to take care of. It's easier to take care of 25 dogs rather than 250 dogs. So because of Oregon's laws, there has been less abuse, which shows that limiting the number will be effective. So to sum it up, puppy mills are harmful unless regulated, and we can regulate these by limiting the number of dogs allowed in puppy mills. So although the puppies from puppy mills are purebred and cheaper, the number should be limited. So after listening to my speech, I hope maybe you're thinking of your own animals at home, if you have any, and hopefully you think how lucky you are to have those animals, because where would they be if they were in a puppy mill instead of your home? Thank you.